Hi, Gabrielle Cunninson here, or also known as the Fighting Booker, Amazon Princess, Amazon Queen, angrier, angry, and angered yellow. So I'm doing another YouTube live stream. Yesterday, when I did a live stream, apparently it was all messed up. Followers couldn't get on. Followers couldn't talk in the talk box. It was stuck in for laying. It never for laid. It was having problems being played back even by me. And it was the first time that ever happened to me. Now I know men and women out there who are going to say, well, use Google Hangout. Now that mistake could happen. If that mistake happens on YouTube live stream, it could happen on Google Hangout too. There's no avoiding it. It's like, okay, it's like, oh, you can't avoid it. It's going to happen, So hopefully this one doesn't fall apart like the other one did. I don't know what went wrong. Something on YouTube's end really went wrong. And I should have known there was something wrong when it kept saying, still live. And I should have known there was something wrong when it didn't show up in the movie stead after it was forlayed. I should have known there was also other binds with it, other mischief with it, but I didn't know. Should have realized when I had problems playing it back, and my followers were saying they couldn't sign, they couldn't log in, they couldn't watch it, or they couldn't speak on it. Now, as of right now, no one's on here, but I guess eventually that will change. So, what's the first under warp I got to talk about? Yeah, about men and women who think if you have a bind with one, you just jump to the other one. Well, that doesn't work. You see, if YouTube live stream has some type of mistake or whatever you want to call it, Google Hangout is going to have a mistake too. It's going to transfer. It's like back in the day when you had YouTube webcam capture and video file upload. Oh, well, video file upload, webcam capture is all messed up. Well, all stayed up and having mistakes and binds. Oh, why don't you use, movie file upload? Yeah, and when that one fucked up, what are you going to say? I know that YouTube comes a long way, and you got free ways of getting a movie on YouTube, okay? Now, I don't know what went wrong. Something went wrong, and that have never happened to me before. Now, I have seen that happen to other users on YouTube. I have seen that happen to other YouTubers, regardless if they be partnered or not. That's the first time it happened to me. So right now, no one's on my live stream. Either that means one or two things. Either I picked a bad time, 12 in the afternoon, to do this, or that mistake or bind is back, making it where people can't sign in. So if somebody actually does start showing up and saying something, that will show that that's working. I don't know what went wrong. Everything on my end seemed to be just fine until it was about 9 o'clock at night when I find out, about maybe around 8 when I find out it has problems. It had its bind, its mistakes. You couldn't play it. It would skip to the end sometimes. Other times it would just say, oh, well, the show's ended, and it would still say it was going live. Apparently, others was having, you couldn't even go into it and couldn't even talk or speak on it. So I don't know what was going wrong, but apparently no one's on my live stream right now. And that's pretty sad. Some of the longest moves I've ever made were YouTube live streams. You can't do that with Google Hangout. I am sorry. I am sad. You can. But if you pick, for example, there's two forms of Google Hangout. There's Google Hangout Beta. If you're using the Beta software, it'll let you go for multiple hours. But if you're using the live event or live show, you can only go for 3 or 4 hours. So I don't know what went wrong. But no way am I going to use Google Hangout. No, I'm not going to go through all that, waste of time of putting in a name, a title, description, and tags, dating the location recording, and, waiting for it to start up and, and having that, whatever. I'm not going to go for all that. Well, no one's on it right now, but that's okay. Someone probably will. I want someone to come on and show that it's actually working right, that they can act and that everything's working right. And that'll be the first indication. That's the first time it ever happened to me, And I have made long YouTube live streams before. Probably the longest movies I ever made were actually live streamed, So I've never been a bind before, Well, I guess it is what it is. So let's see, what else was I going to talk about today? Well, yeah. What else was I going to talk about? Apparently, the YouTube child well term that just recently got added to everybody's upload page when you upload a movie. Apparently, YouTube wants everybody to make sure that they're following the child well laws, And everybody should. You shouldn't even have to put that up there. But everybody should. But, this channel doesn't even apply to that because there's nothing in there. We don't have any kids on this channel. So there would be no way in any of these movies. So that rule wouldn't even apply to us. So this is how it is, I guess. No one's going to watch it, but that's okay. That's fine. I used to do Google Hangouts in the past, and nobody would watch that. So it's like, well, it's like did I pick a bad time? Well, there is no such thing as a good time. There is no right time or wrong time. Everyone's got these different time zones. So how am I supposed to know when was a good time to do it? Oh, yeah, and right now my flocking staff only wants to fall into my hand. I got this cheap tape, and I said that yesterday. It's made cheap. I'm not making this up. This is the worstest tape I've ever bought. It's not Scotch tape. It's some other cheap tape that someone buys since, they think it's cheap, and then they find out actually it's made cheap, but it wasn't just the sales price or the sales tax on it. That or maybe the glue on the tape's bad. I don't know. It would be nice if Toy Biz actually did make it where I could actually hold this on my foot and my hand, but no, they didn't. So right now, nobody's still on my live stream. That's pretty sad, giving to the fact that all my subscribers should know that I'm doing a live stream since it shows up on their channel, notification or in their emails, one of the two. But let's see what we're going to do first. Well, Gabrielle, what went wrong with it? I don't know what went wrong with the YouTube live stream I did yesterday. I have no idea, Waris. Something went wrong, and everything was just so messed up about it. It didn't even show up on the video page, the movie page, the movie stead. It didn't even laid right. It kept cutting to the beginning and to the end, and other times it wouldn't even let you watch it. And even when it was going on, my followers were saying some of them couldn't even talk or speak on the chat box. I take that back. They actually were talking on the talk box, so that wasn't having a thing. Well, maybe you should use Google Hangout. I'm not going to use Google Hangout, Waris. I told you that. I'm not going to use that shit. No one's going to. So, okay, maybe I'm so boring no one wants to watch it. But, oh, well, I'm not going to use Google. I'm not going to use Google Hangout. It's like, oh, well, it's like one's messed up. Go jump to the other. Well, the same thing that happened on YouTube live stream could happen on Google Hangout too, so you can't avoid it. So it is what it is at that point. No one's on there. Either one or two things, nobody actually is watching it, or maybe they can't watch it. Maybe maybe gotten some new mistake right now and nobody can watch it. Yeah, that would be pretty sad if there was some new mistake or a repeat. I do hope that it doesn't happen again. And that's pretty sad if it happens again, but it shouldn't happen again. No way it's going to happen again. You know, I think that was a one-time thing that happened particularly to my YouTube live stream. It's not going to happen again. And it had nothing to do with my equipment, not my computer, not my internet. It was all on YouTube. Something went wrong when movie was being made. And something went wrong when it got furlayed. You know, nobody's on here right now. Still isn't on there. I want to know if somebody can actually come on and watch it and tell me if everything's working right. Well, I'm gonna have to go look up on something, and if somebody comes on when I'm gone, Gabrielle says that will be good. But I gotta check something real quick. So what? Oh, why you gotta bump the I didn't mean to bump it. Well, Mom, you're home. Yeah, I just got home for working at the Truth Initiative, trying to teach young men and women, and maybe even older men and women, the evils of smoking. So what's going on? I'm doing a YouTube live stream, Mom. Not the one we made yesterday. That was really messed up. Yeah, you couldn't watch it. Sometimes you couldn't comment on it. It would either cut out, it would either go to the end, or it would keep on, going back to the beginning. It was all messed up. It wasn't even furlayed on the front page right. It wasn't even in the movie. Wasn't even in the new video, the movie stead of onlooker page, or whatever you want to call it. No, it wasn't. So we had to delete it and do it again. Well, we're not going to do Google Hangout. I'm going to tell you that right now. Not going to do Google Hangout. It's so sad if we have to do Google Hangout. And, no one's watching, Mom. Yeah, well, remember back in the day, Gabrielle, nobody watched our Google Hangouts, and everybody thinks that was a shit. If everybody was like, it's Google Hangout. Yeah, we can do live stream. Yeah, and then YouTube live stream came along. Everybody's on that now. But the sad thing is, Gabrielle, some men and women actually believe that if you jump to Google Hangout, it won't have any of the same mistakes. No, if Google Hangout has the same mistakes that YouTube live stream does. It's like, we didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, that's the first. Do you know nothing? I don't know why it's messed up. And I work for YouTube. I work as community guideline onlooker. I have no clue why YouTube live stream messed it up. Well, here's the thing, Gabrielle. Do you even think that anyone actually watched us yesterday? Yeah, some people came, some men and women watched. We had some followers talking and speaking. So obviously that part of it was working. Well, someone finally on. Well, good, Gabrielle. Someone's finally on here. Well, thank you for being on our YouTube live stream. We're trying this again. Yesterday, the YouTube live stream was really fucked up. It was bloody messed up. It didn't furlay right. It had problems. It had binds. Couldn't play it. You couldn't even comment on it. It wouldn't even show up in the movie page, our movies onlooker, stead. It wouldn't even show up. It was so fucked up. There were a lot of things messed up with it. Is it messed up right now? I don't know. Can you get into it fine and talk and everything? Well, I didn't know how messed up it was until about 8 in the evening. All right, Gabrielle, I guess I'll have to let you go. No, Mom, stay. So anyway, Xena says, I don't know what went wrong with it. Should have known there was something wrong. It kept saying live streamed when it wasn't. It claimed it was for Laid, but that was a lie. It didn't even show up in our video manager page and our movie on stead at all. You couldn't watch it half of the time. The other times you couldn't even book any words on it. You know? Well, I won't know until it for Laid if it fucks up again. And you know, the sad thing is, Xena says, a lot of these men and women think, oh, jump to Google Hangout. Well, if YouTube live stream has some type of bind, Google Hangout's going to have a bind too. You know? So it is what it is. And I just got back from, working at the Truth Initiative, teaching young men and women, maybe even some old men and some women, the evils of cigarette and cigar smoking and tobacco chewing. Yeah, some might say it's a fight that one can't win, but if you can at least teach others about the evils of smoking, you might be able to cut back on the numbers. So I came back from that. And a lot of questions men and women were asking me yesterday were like, oh, well, Xena, do you wear a bra? Things like that. And did I ever model in Playboy? No, I actually showed myself in Maxim. Yeah, I don't even, it is what it is. So, I don't know. So it's not even there. It's removed. Point is, the point is, that's why we're doing this again. I think it's a one-time thing. I don't think it's going to repeat itself. It was a mistake that happened on YouTube's end. On I was using their stuff. See, I'm using their stuff to make the movie. So it's not like it's my equipment. It wasn't my likeness taker. It was all them. It wasn't my computer. It wasn't my likeness taker. It wasn't my internet. It was nothing like that. It was all on them. And I always never had that bind until then. Yeah, I see Hercules from time to time. He's been working in a TWF as a road agent since 2012 AD, I guess, He's actually a 2-time TWF heavyweight champion as I make this right now. So here's a question I'm going to ask you, Xena says, before I go. Which one do you like more? Which one do you think is good to use? Google Hangout or YouTube live stream? I actually think YouTube live stream is a more good one. Unlike Google Hangout, where you got to put a title, tag, and description, and then you have to record the recording location and date the time. Then if you use Veda, then you could go about 3 hours. If you didn't use Veda, you can only go like 2 hours. Well, it looks like that user left. Oh, remember, Gabrielle, that's just a YouTube mistake that makes you think your follower left your live stream when he didn't. The follower is probably still there. It's one of those YouTube mistakes that constantly happens. So I'm sure he or she's still watching. It's just YouTube having some type of bind with their stuff, making it look like that the user actually left. And you're probably right. Oh, Mom, what do you want those farts for? I'm sorry, I'm sad, Gabrielle, but it had to come out. Don't you know they smell like rotten fish? My farts do not smell like rotten fish. You gotta stop it, Mom. You gotta take those pills. Really? Those pills don't help me. They don't bloody help me at all. And run empty off. That's just me trying to be, that's just me being funny. Yeah. See, I knew it's one of those YouTube mistakes that makes it where your follower left your YouTube live stream and really they're still there. And if that's the only thing that happens during this whole live stream, I'll be very happy. You know? So it is what it is at that point. Oh no. I think the username could be Elvis Justson or Elvis Joseson. I'm not even sure if that's how it's said. That's the guess I'm coming down to. You know? And getting back to what I was saying way earlier when I first started. You know? Well, I'm talking about your name. I'm not sure how your name said. I think it was Elvis Joseson or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, as far as I was saying earlier, it's like what I was saying way earlier is, well, you know, a lot of men and women would most likely think, well, just jump to Google Hangout. Well, you know, if it happens on YouTube live stream, it's going to happen on Google Hangout too. It's just the way it is, you know. And when I used to do Google Hangouts, and I only did a Google Hangout until I was able to use video file upload again, no one would even watch any of that stuff. And it's probably, you know, it is what it is at that point. So right now, Alaris was on, my mother Zena was on, and if it's the same ones, now I'm back to only having one on you. I had two, but now it's back to one. Yeah, it's that YouTube mistake that makes you think that your followers are leaving. Yeah, there you go. That's a YouTube mistake. I'm not even going to even acknowledge that one as being true. I have an idea that the YouTube mistake. Yeah, YouTube mistake. No way that anyone left the live stream. It's probably one of those YouTube mistakes. You're probably still there, you know. So, as of right now, I wonder, well, see, I knew. It's one of those YouTube mistakes. You know, one of those everyday YouTube mistakes that makes you think your followers are leaving your live stream when they're not. You know. And when YouTube live when YouTube live stream has some type of mistake on it, then you don't know about it. You have no win, no thought, no take until after it's done, and you realize that all the things that it usually does isn't doing. You know, when you're trying to watch it and you can't play it back, when it keeps saying it's live when it's not, when you can't comment on it, when it doesn't show up later on with all the other normal movies and live streams that you did, then you know it's fucked up. Sad for saying that, but you have no way to know. It's like when you use video file upload and then the movie cuts out on you. You have no way. You don't know. You know, you have no idea. And by the time you see with video file upload, you could always re-upload the movie and try again, seek again. Well, you can't do that. Like, once it gets stuck in processing, that's it. Once it's for late, it's fucked up. You really can't do anything about it when you're doing a YouTube live stream. I think that the Marvel movie will do fine. You know, Marvel seems to be doing very well as a subsidiary of Disney, and I think the new movie or the movies they're currently doing or will do fine. I think that Marvel will always do a good job with their movies. So I think their movie will do fine. You know. But it is what it is. Well, so I was on, Walmart.com. You know, you can order things through them, buy things through them. And they do sell some Xena comic books. the ones that were, the ones that were made by Dynamite, the ones that were made back in 2017, 80 last year. So that's probably the only way that I'm going to probably get, something like that. Because which says that Barnes & Noble wouldn't sell them. And most of the other bookstores probably wouldn't sell them. You probably had to go to some mall somewhere, or maybe a mall or something, just go to a comic book store just to get them. And even then, it might be questionable. So, yeah, I think Marvel's movie will do fine, as I answered that. I think the Marvel movie will do fine. So it is what it is. And I wonder if others are going to come on his YouTube live stream or not. Maybe only one. If I get one to stay on, that's good. I don't know what went wrong with the live stream. I have no clue. And I work for YouTube, but I work as a YouTube community guideline onlooker. So, So I have no idea why it does what it does. Why it did what it did. Well, Gabrielle, it's good to see you again. Giving YouTube live stream another seek? Yeah, I'm giving YouTube stream another seek. Nah, I never wanted to be a show player. But my mother is a wrestler and a show player. But I never wanted, and my god sister Jordan's a show player. But no, I never wanted to be a show player. Never did. Well, hopefully this live stream actually, doesn't go like the other one did. But here we go. Like I was saying, I was working on the on that song. I know I took it from Joxer, but oh well. We don't have his doll, so it's not like he's gonna come on and argue about how to fight about it. Ernest the Bold, he roams through the countryside. He never needs a place to hide. With Gabby as a sidekick, fighting with her little stick. So fighting wrongs and singing songs, being bold all day long. He's Ernest the Bold. Ernest, why you gotta do that? Why? You come on, you say that you and Joxer have no binds about a song, but you have to go and put your name on his song. Yeah, well, so don't be untrue about it. You and Joxer always gotta have this thing about whose song's good. I mean, you don't see Joxer trying to say there once was a man named Joxer. He was Joxer Cunnis, the Joxer Mighty or something. Oh, next time I'm greeting late friend from Nonlockett. You're from Sweden. Oh, one of those dramatic countries. Yeah. One of those European Scandinavian or European dramatic countries. Yeah. I wouldn't have known that. Obviously, you're typing in either you're either typing in European Swedish English or European Swedish. That makes any sense there. Yeah, It is what it is. And yeah, well, that's cool. If you're from Sweden, that's really good to know. So I guess it is what it is at that point. Yeah, well, my brother Ernest basically, had to come in. It's like I'm trying to redo, I guess, or the live stream I did yesterday, but you could never do something the same way you did it before. I mean, it is what it is. As I would always mention, I do book tales and book sagas about, my mother, Xena. And they're nothing really good. I mean, okay, they're good. But they're in notebooks and composition books. And no way no book for layer could ever turn it to a paperback or a hardback, since, oh, we don't do it for the foreseer. You don't do it for the computer, or whatever you want to call it. We can't go back and forth and make. Yeah. Why is YouTube an ass on hold the web? Someone says, why is YouTube a ESOL on hold site sit on web? I don't know. You're asking the wrong woman the wrong question. I don't know. You know, if you think YouTube is the easel of the elder web, then that's your win, that's your thought, that's your take. But I can't answer that for you. So I can't answer that for you. If you don't like the website, I don't know what to tell you. But being angry or mad or wrath on YouTube coming my live stream isn't going to help you with that anger, mad, or wrath about YouTube. See, I work for YouTube, but only as a community guideline onlooker. But anyway, it is what it is. And I don't even know if anybody even said anything about the sagas or the tales that I say I booked it about my mother. And you know, I mean, it's just, they're never going to be forlayed. There's no way that can be taken the way they're made. It looks like rough draft. You know, no way they'll ever be forlayed. It just is what it is. Well, I don't even know what your show is. I don't know what your foreseer show is, so I would not watch it because I don't know what it is. You know. And apparently YouTube live streams claiming, well, you only got one user on there, but I get an idea it's probably that mistake again. It make me think the two followers are gone. Really, they're not gone. DVD times. Oh yeah, okay. Now I know what you mean. Yeah, I know. The DVD times. We show off the DVDs that you get from Netflix. You know. So were you able to get on and do everything right? Like the first thing men and women would say, oh, I couldn't get on, you know. That was the first one. Well, I wouldn't know. See, you don't know. And as I was saying, I said way earlier, it's apparently a lot of people are like, well, go use Google Hangout. Well, you know, if it happens on YouTube live stream, it's going to happen on Google Hangout too. It's not isolated. It's not, you know, contained. You know, it's like back in the day with webcam capture and movie upload. Well, they're not like they're isolated from each other, the mistake that happened on that one happened on the other. So I gotta think, who else do I need to bring on? Who else do you want to see on? Yeah, I probably am losing this. I have one follower who's from Sweden, and he or she hasn't said anything lately. So it is what it is. But it is what it is, since no one's actually saying anything now, so. Sad for that burp. Well, maybe it is what it is, a walrus says. Maybe others don't want to be on there. Walrus, why would you say something like that? Not saying it to be mean or nothing, but I'm just saying maybe they got nothing to say, nothing to speak of. And I'm still upset since yesterday someone claimed Pretty Pony. It's not me, I'm a unicorn. But what's a unicorn but a horse with a horn on its forehead? Yeah, you're right. So, it is what it is at that point. This, nowhere else does I actually show up. Only in the certain form of Xena Warrior Princess, I'm actually on it. But me, Awaris, never crossed their mind. What do you think of the House of the Dead 2 Guts No Glory? I like it. I think it's a really good movie. I've seen it many times. It's continues where the first one left off at. So, do you think that Xena needs to come back? Like, do you think Xena needs to come back? Sad for that burp. Well, I got one Metchev on Twitter. Let's see what Xena has. I'm having a good day. My mother Xena's on Twitter real quick, going through a Metchev, looking at notifications. Just says people retweeted things. May I gotta write down I'm home now. She has to write down I'm home now. Xena probably writes more tweets than anybody else, name known or not name known, on Twitter. But no way it's a contest or anything. There's always going to be someone that outbeats her in tweets anyway. Yeah, I agree, Awaris says. And if it's not, if Comcast or NBC Universal and Renaissance Pictures aren't going to do it, then at least someone else should do it, like Hallmark. Hallmark did Hercules once. They did Aladdin once. They did Sinbad once. So why not? They did Jason and the Argonauts once. So why not? They could also, do Xena Warrior Princess. And you could have Angelina Jolie play her. Granted, Angelina Jolie might not, she could, play her. If Lucille Lawless doesn't want anything going to do her anymore. And the sad thing is, a lot of men and women out there actually think that Lucille Lawless has some pull. They think that she can make Renaissance Pictures and NBC Universal and Comcast make the show come back. She can't. Robert Tappan and Sam Raimi can't. They lost a lot of say over how Renaissance Pictures operates. So they can't really do it anymore. Yeah, you asked me when I thought about the Halloween movie. Well, let's just put it this way. Halloween they've been sequels and prequels and so many redos so many times that that Dimension Films is really confused over how they handle their own property. And any follower who watches it basically has to, they might be confused. But at the same time, I think if you enjoy Halloween and if you enjoy all the sequels and prequels and redos and all that confusion doesn't bother you, then that's good. But I think all the movies are good. The new one is good. I think it's been a while since I've actually had a sequel, But it is what it is at that point. A lot of men, I didn't know that it was that's so confusing. I didn't know that it was sequel, prequel, sequel, prequel, remake. I didn't know it was that was that done that way. I had no idea. But I don't know why they did it. My only belief was that after they did the third movie, and a lot of men and women didn't like how it was done, they had to try a way to start it over again. So they started doing sequels. And then something happened after that, and they started doing remakes for some reason, and then some more sequels and some more remakes, and then they had to do some prequels if they didn't do that. And next thing you know, they're doing sequels again. So it's confusion, really confusing, But I guess it is what it is at that point. There was no turning back. Once they decided what they had to do, they were going to do it. If you make a style, you have to clean it up. And that's just the way it is. But I think all the Halloween movies are really good. I think they seek to do good with Michael Myers. It's not really his fault that that's the way it is. That's just the way it is. But I like the movies. And I think the new one hopefully does good. Hopefully a lot of people like it, and hopefully, it can, it's been a long time since we actually had a continuation of it, but I hope it works. My mother, Zena, doesn't like it. She never really did like Halloween's. She liked it, but she didn't like it. And she said after a bunch of sequels and prequels and renews, she just basically thinks, what it is. That's her thought, that's her take, that's her win. But at the end of the day, I think it's really good. Well, Zena's not even on right now. She was on earlier. She came home from working for the Truth Initiative. Well, maybe I should say volunteer, for the Truth Initiative. But she was on earlier. So was my brother Ernest. Awarth was on twice. And I just hope that this YouTube live stream doesn't, mess up. But when it comes to me watching a movie or a 4-seer show, I will watch it and like everything about it. And certain other things and flaws and things that other people will be angry, mad, or rap over, what others will seek wrong with or seek bad with, it don't bother me. And when I give my thought on it or take, or that's what I actually believe. It's, it's not just me lying, me being untrue. But, but it is what it is. When you're talking about this, this might be this underworld, but when you're talking about, Michael Myers and that stuff, the reason, or at least the point to why they never had a crossover was different ownership. Who was going to work with who? Friday the 13th was owned by CBS at one point when they first owned Viacom, when they owned it Paramount. Then they sold all of that to Time Warner, and that got ran for, and then eventually Time Warner then sold that to Viacom. By the time Viacom eventually bought all that stuff from CBS anyway, included Paramount and all the other stuff. And apparently, according to some, they had this weird ownership deal where one side owns half, the other side owns the other half, and one side's got to ask the other side to use things and vice versa. And apparently that's the saga, that's the tale. No one really knows for sure. but that's what they say. But it would be over ownership, like how would they work together? And how would one side want to try to make the other side be a certain way? The reason why there was Freddie versus Jason was the fact that at the time, Time Warner owned both those through New Line Cinema. They owned both of those. So they didn't really have to worry about how they had to be afraid of how they were going to do it. Didn't really matter how Jason or Freddie did, since they were both owned by the same team. When it would come to Jason and Michael, there you would have New Dimension on one side, you would have Vericom and Time Warner on the other side, and they would all have 3 different takes on how they wanted Jason to be done and how they want Michael to be done and how they'd want one to be win over the other. Somebody removed your first comment. You didn't have to do that. But I'll see. I gotta see if I get someone else to be in my my live stream. I mean, it's kind of like the fish. I mean, it is what it is, but I want to get, have somebody else be on my live stream here. It is what it is at that point. Hold on, I'm going to get somebody else to be on my live stream. Someone else who is recently now a booker. Along with Eric Bischoff. Somebody who's recently now a booker. Somebody who's recently an assistant booker in WWE again, but it's also assistant booker and who's now one of the bookers alongside with Eric Bischoff in the TWF now. Paulie Dangerously. Or you can call me Paul Heyman. I haven't been called Paulie Dangerously since 2001, AD. Can you believe that? Well, I heard that your charge, Brock Lesnar's left WWE. He's in UFC again. Yeah, sadly, that's true. Brock Lesnar took up the deal with UFC to join them after August of this year. So it looks like he's going to drop the WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship to either Bobby Lashley or Roman Reigns. But I would want to think it would be Bobby Lashley, since Bobby Lashley is the only closest thing, the only closest threat that Brock Lesnar has now. And you're working in WWE again as the assistant booker. Yeah, on Raw, obviously. Well, here's the thing. You and Ernest P. Worrell, along with me and Eric Bischoff, there shouldn't be a problem as far as booking goes. Well, if you're going to get angry about something, you're not going to start pinching people, are you? No, I ain't going to do that. But I do think that Brock Lesnar does need a going away match, at least in the Toy Wrestling Federation. So, what do you think we need to do? I think that Brock Lesnar should face your mother, Xena, again. Yeah. But what would my mother have to prove? What would Brock have to prove? But Brock hasn't had a match since December of last year when he fought Asuka. So Brock needs to have one more win before he goes. Paul, we'll see what we can do about that. You think long about it, Gabrielle, but if you think long, remember, you think wrong. And it is what it is at this point. Yeah, this is my second version of myself. No, I didn't get the Mattel version of myself I should have had. But I guess it's better than nothing. Yeah, there's Paulie Dangerously, or also sometimes known as Paul Heyman, who along with my brother Ernest P. Worrell and Eric Bischoff basically make the booking team of the TWF. And yeah, it is what it is. I mean, at one point it was Lord Zed and Aries at one point with me and Ernest, but apparently, and Lord Zed was out, and then Aries was eventually out, and next thing you know, it was me and Ernest P. Worrell, and and Eric Bischoff, and apparently Paulie Dangerously, of course. I could say what that was, but actually no, Actually, I think actually it was Zed, Lord Zed and Aries. I mean, Lord Zed and Spike, along with Paulie Dangerously and Eric Bischoff. So it is what it is, along with me, obviously. So, but no, it was me, Lord Zed, Lord Zed, and Aries, and there was also Paulie Dangerously and Eric Bischoff. So it is what it is at that point. Actually, no. It's just me and Eric Bischoff and Paulie Dangerously. That's it. Just the three of us, basically. Granted, I also would say it was, And also, also Lord Zed and Spike. That was about it. So, yeah, it is what it is at that point. And yeah, he is back. He is the assistant booker in WWE again. Some say he works on the Raw side of things, as they say. I don't know, maybe the SmackDown side of things, maybe the NXT side. I think he also helps puts wrestling fights together for Main Event and 205 Live, I think, too. It was most likely probably Hunter Hearst Helmsley's idea, since Paulie Dangerously was staying around after Brock Lesnar left, and they figured to, have him be a booker again, since I believe that would, and I know that all the things that happened during his first run, when he first came to WWE from 2080 to 2006-80, there were a lot of things. Okay, first he was the assistant booker underneath Kevin Kelly, with Michael P.X. Hayes, another assistant booker. Then from 2001 to 2004 he was the head booker, having first Michael P.X. Hayes and Kevin Kelly as his assistant bookers. And then, but apparently he lost that position in 2004 when he had a pinching fight over booking or something. I don't know. And then he was on the booking team from 2005 80 up to 2006 80, but the problem is he was always sending in his papers and he was always being late sending in his booking stuff. And then he forgot to tell someone he was on a conference call, and that's what led to his him being let go in 2007 AD, of course. Then 2012 to present, he primarily was managing multiple different wrestlers. Brock Lesnar was the primary one. But it looks like Brock Lesnar is leaving after SummerSlam, so either Bobby Lashley is going to beat him for a WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship, or it's going to be Roman Reigns. One of those two. Whoever wins is going to have big shoes to fill now. Since Brock Lesnar since there's only been Finn Balor and Kevin Owens and Bill Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, whoever wins that's going to have to live up to all that now. So it would be cool to see Bobby Lashley fight Brock Lesnar. A lot of people kept saying when Bobby Lashley was in IW the first time and the second time, they were building him up to be like Brock Lesnar. So that would be really cool to see that happen. And if Bobby Lashley would be the one to beat Brock Lesnar and win the WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship, he would have a lot of big shoes to fill at that point. And then on the other side, you got Roman Reigns, who keeps on, they keep booking it where he comes close every time and it doesn't work out. So we'll have to see how that goes. But it is what it is at that point. I guess somebody removed something there, but it is what it is. So yesterday, WWE had these likeness and they were having W wrestlers show play as ECW wrestlers. And, you know, apparently there are some men and women out there who feel, oh no, they're being made fun of, being made glee of again. ECW being unlooked. Actually, ECW got unlooked at that point. WWE was showing unlooked by doing that. You know, a lot of men and women are going to talk about all the things that WWE did with ECW. They're going to talk about the DVDs. They're going to talk about the dolls. They're going to talk about the ECW brand and ECW and Sci-Fi from 2006 to 2010 AD. They're going to talk about all the things that went wrong with it, but all the things that went right with it. And I think the problem that they're going to talk about all of that. Well, my mother, Zena, was on earlier, and I'm trying this live stream again. You know, yesterday it was all messed up. You know, you couldn't comment on it. You couldn't watch it. It wasn't relayed right. It kept saying live stream when it wasn't live streamed anymore. It was so messed up. It wouldn't even show up on the Unlook in the movie stead. So I'm trying it again. And hopefully this time it actually doesn't mess up like it did last time. So did you get the address, everything right, as I said? 320 Gumbert Street, you know, McKeesport, 15133. Hopefully all that. Hopefully this one doesn't mess up like the other one. You know? Yeah, you did. Well, thank you for that. You know, so yeah, now it's going to be Joey Styles, Gene Okerlund, Jim Ross, Gorilla Monsoon, Jonathan Coachman, Renee Young, and Michael Cole. And in my head, I was planning out how the announce teams would work from that point. Like for 205 Live, it would most likely be Michael Cole and Gene Okerlund and Corey Graves. And on Monday Night Raw, it would be Michael Cole, John Coachman, Corey Graves. And then most likely for SmackDown, it most likely would be Gene Okerlund and Xander Harris and Corey Graves. And on NXT, it would be Jim Ross and, you know, Trini Kwan and Corey Graves. And on Impact, well, it would be Jim Ross and Tara Aragon and the Jackal. And then for, I don't know, main event, you could probably have Gorilla Monsoon and you know, main event with Gorilla Monsoon and Ryan Mitchell and the Jackal. And yeah, I guess you could for Explosion. I guess I could, you know, do something with you know, Joey Styles or something. Like, you know, it could be like I could do like, you know, like probably like, you know, Joey Styles and, you know, I don't know, somebody, you know, and, you know, maybe like, I don't know, Super Mario and the Jackal. So it is what it is. I'm doing fine. I'm just telling you the ideas of how I put how I do the announce teams. And apparently Corey Graves has this t-shirt. And apparently Corey Graves has this t-shirt that WWE made. It actually is true. WWE did make these. It's called Corey Graves Shot Up Saxon. Because you know how Corey Graves always storylinely has fights with Baron Saxon on SmackDown Live. So it said, you know, Shut Up Saxon. Well, then it should say on the other side of the shirt, Shut Up Coachman, since he has fights with John Coachman on Monday Night Raw. You know? You know? Yeah, my mother Zena's back again. You were talking about me earlier. I was back here again. And hopefully this live stream doesn't mess up like the other live stream we did yesterday. I don't know what went wrong with it. Something on YouTube's end caused it to mess up. You know? And then I was running through, then my daughter Gabrielle was running through how they could different type of announce teams or stuff. You know? Well, there's this form of me, the one I was in yesterday, the European Roman one, the Warlord one, and the Evil one, and that's it in this one. Gabrielle's got the Amazon Princess one, and the Empress one, and that's it, and just one. So hopefully this one doesn't mess up like the other stied up, like the other bloody one did from yesterday. You know, no way am I going to use bloody Google Hangout again just to do a live stream. You know, put your name in, your title in, your description, your tags, then date the recording location and date the map, you know, the time and date. Then if you're using Veda, you can go 4 hours or something or longer. If you're not, then you're only doing live show. You can only go like, what, 3 hours? Yeah. Evil. No look. Awesome. I love it. Yeah, well, the only ones I have. I could go, I could show the other ones off, but it is what it is at that point. And this shit, I've been trying to keep this stuff on me since 2017 AD, of course. I had to glue one thing in my back on, the elbow pad back on, and then one of my arm back on using crazy glue and then super glue. And this is, you know, it is what it is. Do you think they should remake my dolls? You know, like Pop Hero should like make my dolls, like there be Xena, Gabrielle, Joxer. Then you could have like, I don't know, Hercules, Autolycus. You could have like, I don't know, Ares, Aphrodite. You could also, I don't know, other ones. You could have Eve, I don't know, maybe Lucifer, Mephistopheles. You could have Alti. You could have like, I don't know, all the different friends and foes and kin from the series if you wanted. He's playing Monster Movie all night on Shudder streaming service. Well, that's good to know. I don't know what the Fiend movie all night on the shoulder of the streaming service. I don't know. So Casca Capital Group, we own Pluto TV. It's more like a streaming service, but it's set up like a viewing guide, and you click on it and different things on it. I know it's not much of competition compared to Sci-Fi and you know, and Comet. So oh, Mom, you farted again, like you did yesterday. I told you, Gabrielle. I'm sad. No, you're not. You're not sad. Yes, I am. I'm sad. You do what you do at that point. You want to unlook me, Gabrielle? I can just always leave again. Mom, don't. Your hair's a mess, Gabrielle. Come on. You're watching a movie and your hair is a mess. Comb the hair. Bloody comb the hair. And I'm hearing someone saying something in another room. And ooh. I got dirt or something in my hair. Mother, something came off of you and went on my hair. Look, Gabrielle, I know. Yeah, but you got to comb your hair. I got dirt in my hair or something. Something came off of you and went on my hair. No, you ain't going to see Xena naked on. You ain't going to. Hold on. Let me tell you right now, you're not going to see me naked on this channel. Number one, taking all these clothes off is going to be bad. Hard. Okay? Number two, I guarantee you if I did, and I think that would probably violate the YouTube community guidelines, the YouTube terms of service. All right? No, I'm not doing that. So, unless you want to go to, I'm not going to do all that. You know? It is what it is. No, and I'm not going to be doing that in any of the movies or on a live stream either. I got to be going now. How you like that? I farted. Mom, why you got to do that for? It is what it is. So let's see. Read some of these other comments I got going here. I know he's going to play tonight. He may play the Jason movies. Oh, yeah, I understand that. Yes, all the Friday the 13th movies. Well, the story, the saga to tell behind that is that apparently they never got Time Warner never got the name Friday the 13th. So that's apparently why the 9th one and the 10th one were just called Jason and never had the Friday the 13th name put on it. At least that's what the saga and the tale say. It's, But the sad thing is they don't put when American Movie Classic would run them, at least they'd run them in the order that they were in. At least, 1 to 10. They actually would do that. When USA used to do them back in the day, they would just pick random ones and throw them out there. They wouldn't do it in any chronological order. And that's Paramount does it, but they skip over the third one. Yeah, that's really, so it is what it is. Yeah, I think I like Freddy Krueger. I think he's good. He's been in the Toy Wrestling Federation he's been around. He was known for his fight with Dolph Ziggler. He was involved with a fight with The Undertaker and also with Bray Wyatt at one point as well. He hasn't been around lately. That gives me an idea because coming up in October, there might be another Jason Voorhees stunt, another Freddy Krueger stunt. But my mother ended up fighting him off once, so it is what it is. Now my hair's all a mess again. Well, I got a new boyfriend. My hair's a mess. So it is what it is. Yes, I remember there was this segment that Kevin Nash booked, and Eric Bischoff may have approved of it, where basically Gene Okerlund's interviewing Rick Steiner about his fight with Scott Steiner, and then, Chucky shows up and tells him, oh, you think you're so good, but you're not, and Scott Steiner's going to beat you, and you should check out my movie because I do a better job show playing than you do wrestling or something. And, I remember that. I think it was either Monday Nitro or Thunder where that happened. And I don't know whose win that was. I don't know if it was Kevin Nash at the time, who was the head booker, or it was Eric Bischoff, who was the subsidiary head manager at the time. One of the two came up with it. I don't know which, but I do remember it. So, it is what it is at that point. Well, see, here's the one thing. I always talk about my booking. So it's on Walmart.com, and I came across some Xena comics, the Dynamite comics, the ones made back in 2017 AD, of course. So I might get some of them, since Barnes and Noble won't carry them. And no other bookstore will carry them unless you go to some mall somewhere and they go to some comic book store and they might have them, but that's as far as it goes. But any of the sagas or stories that I booked are not going to be related by any book furlayer, since they're all notebook and composition book, and no way I can rebook any of them. And no way that I can Nobody will make any weird guild off of that. And there'll be the answer of copyright. So it is what it is at that point. So does everybody... Oh, I got two forms of myself. There's me, then there's me as the Amazon Queen. And then eventually there's me as the Empress from, Quest, from Quest and stuff. And then there's the Empress one, from Bitterfleet. Then there's this one of myself that starts out from season 2, the Orphan of War, and finally ends into at least, I guess, I don't know, till somewhere in season 4. Has she wrestled in a TWF? My mother has been wrestling in the TWF since 1999 AD when she first came. And there's different forms of herself. She has the small form. She has herself when, there's 2 small versions and big versions. She is a multi-time TWF heavyweight champion, world heavyweight champion, TWF hardcore champion, king of the ring. I'm not making that one up. That's where she met The Undertaker. So somewhere in July would make it to be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, make 14 years she's been in the TWF, So, who are you asking ever wrestled in a thing? And you see, this gives you this brief history. I'm going to give you the saga or tale of the Toy Wrestling Federation. It's been around for about 25 years, on and off. Mostly it was first doing on cassettes, then a Tyco video likeness taker, then cassettes, and eventually on the Sony likeness taker, then the JVC likeness taker on DVD, and then they'll let the VHS and the DVD, and then many hits and misses on YouTube until finally on YouTube. So it's been around for a long time. With sundry different rings, WWF rings, WCW rings, Rise War, and and WE main event pay-per-view rings, Hasbro rings, WCW rings. It's been, well, there were different ownerships. There was Vince Kamicki for a long time, and then Shane Kamicki, and eventually led to Astronema, led to Divatox, and finally, led to Xena. And with, just face it, the chief executive officer position was this long revolving door. First it was Scott McAllen, then it was Steve Austin, then it was Dwayne McAllen, then it was Angel, and then it was Aladdin. And it finally went to Ric Flair and Hunter Helmsley. And as far as the owners was concerned, it was Vince Kamicki for a long time. Then Shane Kamicki. Then eventually it went to Astronema. Then it went to Divatox and went to Xena. So it is what it is at that point. And I was always saying that I was talking about the co-owners. We all know how that went down. Like Shane Kamicki was the co-owner for a very long time. And then it is what it is, and it lost it, and I gained the double on that. And then everybody's always wondering, is my mother Xena? Here's the ones. See, my mother Xena's always worked with, always, she's always been crossover with different ones. Like Matthias the Scorpion King and Conan the Barbarian, also with Red Sonja. She also had her crossover with Valiant. But, Garza of all that, she's also, well, she hadn't crossed over. She worked with Duncan McLeod at one point, the Highlander, but she hasn't worked with the Beastmaster or the Beastmaster yet, or not even with yeah, she did her thing. She worked with Buffy Summers and Angel and things like that, and Max Agora, but never worked with Laura Croft or even with with Indiana Jones. Yeah, I play movie games. Mostly they're wrestling, but that's the ones I play on the Sony PlayStation and Microsoft Xbox. There are not really so many WWE games on a Nintendo Wii or Nintendo Wii U, and then at the house there's this arcade room. There's this game room of multiple game players and arcade players, and one of them has multiple wrestling ones, and it keeps messing up. It's so old it keeps locking up. When me and my god sister Jordan were playing them, so it is what it is at that point. Do you think that you won't believe this, but Gil Kim follows Asuka and Asuka follows Gil Kim. And one time my mother Xena said to Gil Kim, you need to wrestle Asuka. And then said Asuka, you need to wrestle Gil Kim, but of course that's not gonna happen. Well, there goes the fun. There goes. Sad for that burp. Now there goes the likeness taker running again. So it is what it is at that point. And I hope that this movie doesn't mess up the same way that the other one went. That was the likeness taker. Nah, that was the far talker ringing. Or in standard English, the telephone, but that was the far talker ringing. Not to confuse. You should not confuse the far talker with the far speaker. Since the far speaker is the radio, the far talker is the telephone. Since telephone's a European Hellenic borrowed word, and we know radio is probably a borrowed word too, so it is what it is at that point. And you could say it's the foreseer, since television is a mixture between the European Hellenic borrowed word and the European Italic French borrowed word. So radio is actually a European Italic Italian borrowed word. Yeah. All right. So it's a European Italic Italian borrowed word then. Yep. Well, my mother Xena doesn't really like Italy or Rome that much. She doesn't have anything against European Italians or European Romans. It's just that she's had some bad experiences there with Augustus Julius Caesar, with Marcus Antony, with Pompey Magnus, for example, with Marcus Brutus. And also, don't forget about the immortal, So it is what it is at that point. But I didn't know. See, I knew radio was a borrowed word. I just didn't know that it was a European Italic Italian borrowed word. Yeah, probably was. They're probably like, oh, what do you call this thing? We don't have no word for it. And then someone speaking European Italic Italian goes, radio. What's that? That's the sound wave. That's the wave. Yeah, I like that word. It sounds important. Let's take it in. It's either that or we'll call it the far speaker. Yeah. Okay, so it was made over there. Yeah. I never knew that. Well, thank you for mentioning that. I didn't know that it was a European Italian event making. That it was made by the European Italians. Yeah, try and make sense at that point. Well, so yeah, I was right. It was borrowed. Somebody speaking Italian is saying radio, and someone speaking English says, well, I talked to Luigi and he tells me the word is radio. It gets sound from far away. It's a far speaker. It gets sound from far away. He says it's radio. I like that. We'll go with that word. What's he call the waves? He calls the waves radio. Well, okay, I like that word. It's important. Let's borrow this. It is when it is. But it would actually be the far speaker. Yeah. But then when you think of Italy, the European Italians are kinfolk. They're folk elders, either of European Romans, European what are they going to say? European Etruscans, European Romans, or the European Germanic people that took over that part of Italy after the one part of European Roman Empire fell. So technically, there could be from all three groups, all three teams. Well, I guess the European Voltics, I guess, or Velenics. So it's about those three teams that they tend to come from. You know. So, well, anyway, it is what it is at that point. So one time I was talking about another European Germanic language or European Scandinavian language called Amazonish, spoken by the Teutonics. And the Teutonics were closely related to the European Angles, European Saxons, and European Jutes. And just like English, Teutonic is basically a daughter language of English. Just like Scots is a son language of English, and they developed from one another. They made from one another. And Amazonish has, someone speaking English, someone speaking Scots, and Amazonish can understand each other, since all three of those speeches sound alike, have almost the same vocabulary, and took almost the same borrowed word from Mother Speaks. And you see, my belief is that you take borrowed words, you hear men and women talk. You don't understand every single thing they say, but you hear bits and pieces, and you hear words you think are important. So then after you find out from them what the word means, you start saying it. And then everybody else starts saying it. And after centuries, decades, after many years go by, it becomes a part of your language. And then they're all important words, but they're no longer, but they're outsiders. They're outlander words. They're not words that were normally a part of your language. Yeah, he had to talk to one of his friends, so we had to go. So it is what it is at that point. Yeah, but I only know two speeches, English and Amazonish, and that's it. I like it. I look forward to watching it. But most likely it's going to probably, I don't know. Most likely I think it's not going to be Sailor Moon. It doesn't, no. Not Tuxedo Max. It's going to probably be Sailor Mercury. She's the one that's going to probably end up reviewing it. But there used to be a time where This would probably be Sailor Moon Red and Sailor Moon Red 1. If you remember that far back, you probably do. Where every Monday Night Raw and ECW and Sci-Fi and Superstars, and Friday Night SmackDown and NXT were reviewed. But after the hacking occurred and the false flagging started, it was just, review just the shows and that's it. Plus, plus my mother and Gabe and myself and my god sister Jordan are going to go see TakeOver and SummerSlam this year. Then also that show they're going to do in Australia. Since my mother likes Australia and New Zealand for some point. And it is what it is. You see, Casca Capital Group and World Wrestling Entertainment have this partnership going. They invest in them, and then we go to their shows and stuff. But my mother, she gets really emotionally invested in her wrestlers to the point where she actually cries when they lose. She gets excited when they win, and when they lose, she really cries. She really sobs and everything. But she likes a lot of heels more than the faces. My mother also, she takes folding fans. She got these folding fans or whatever, these hand fans, these folding fans. She always got to go. And I said, what you got them for? She goes, because it's hot. I have to fan myself. So what do you think about my mother, Xena, and her owning the Toy Wrestling Federation, being the president and chief operating officer of Casca Capital Group? Well, yeah, and as a owner, well, and now put somebody back. And as an owner, who did nothing? Oh no, what do you want? Here to tell you that it needs to be censored? No, it does not. Yeah, it does, Gabrielle, and I'll tell you why it does. Why? You see, your mother, Xena, the owner and shareholder, and the chief executive officer, Hunter Townsley, named me the censor of the Toy Wrestling Federation, but I'm getting unlooked by John Cena, Autolycus, Becky Lynch, Asuka, Thor, Wonder Woman, and apparently got unlooked by Xena and Hunter Townsley too. And apparently, Bobby Lashley. Apparently Xena wants Xena to wrestle him. Well, I'm here to tell you that would be censored. Yeah, it is what it is. It's me, Steven Richards. When I was the censorer of the WWF, now WWE, from 2080 to 2001 AD, of course. But it is what it is at that point. And I think Right to Censor had always done a good job than doing a good job. Just like what the Jackal was doing in ECW as a network. Yeah, when he was in WCW in his first run, he was a part of Raven's flock. You're right. During his run in WCW, he was a part of the Raven flock team. You're right. He was in ECW 2 times as a Blue World Order, and WCW as a part of Raven's flock, or brood, you can call it. And then he was in WWF and WE with the, teaming up with copying show plans of other wrestlers. Then he was with, teaming with SA Rios, then a Right to Censor, and then the Alliance, and then he was with Victoria, and he was claiming that he was a general manager of Sunday Night Heat. And then he was with the Blue World Order again when he went from being Raw and SmackDown, ECW was on Blue World Order again, and then he was with TNAW for some time, and it is what it is. But it wasn't like they had, WWF had Right to Censor, and ECW had the network at one point, and WCW had the practices and standards. They were trying to make fun of Time Warner and Turner Broadcast and practice and standards that were first told Eric Bischoff what he couldn't do, and then eventually started telling Bill Bush what he couldn't do with the subsidiary. But it is what it is at that point. Well, here's something I was going to ask everybody. Like, out of all the presidents and chief operating officers at WWE, like William Gonzalez Berg, Hakushi Shukua, Jack Tunney, Gorilla Monsoon, Linda McMahon, and Hunter S. Helmsley, which one did you like the most? We had William Gonzalez Berg, who was there from 1955 AD until 1978 AD. Then we had Hakushi Shukua from 1978 AD until 1984 AD. Jack Tunney from 1984 AD until 1995 AD. Gorilla Monsoon from 1995 AD until 1999 AD. Linda McMahon from 1999 to 2009 AD. Hunter S. Helmsley from 2009 to present. To now, I guess. But it is what it is at that point. And well, here's somebody on my YouTube live stream that the only one that ever came from eBay was Divatox. Yeah, Divatox said I'm the only figure who came from eBay. Well, I take that back because Michael Cole and Kurt Angle Kurt Angle might be coming from, I don't know where he's coming from, but Michael Cole come from me, but I'm the only one that ever came from eBay up to that point. Yeah, Ernest P. Worrell, Pee Wee Herman, and Steven Urkel and Beetlejuice all came from eBay as well. Up to that point. So I was always wondering, who do you think was more good, me or Eric Bischoff? And trust me, you see a lot of it, you see how it went. Well, Diva talks how everything these days. Well, everything's good these days, I guess. I don't do Bermuda Triangle stuff anymore. Your mother and you saved me from all of that. Like you did for seed crops, you did for me. Yep. It is what it is. But I was actually the first that came from... Actually, no. I was the only one that came from eBay at the time. Well, I take that back. Ernest P. Worrell and Pee Wee Herman and Stephen Urkel and Beetlejuice did. And then I did. All out bought, of course. And then I guess Michael Cole is going to come from eBay too. I'm assuming Kurt Angle, general manager of Raw, figures either going to come from Ringside Collectibles or Amazon or eBay, one of those two. I don't know. But it is what it is at that point. What? Oh, okay. So Kurt Angle's there too. All right. You know what you gotta do? What are you gonna do? You gotta do some new sex stuff. I don't want to do any sex stuff. I tell your mother all the time she needs to do some sex stuff, but she doesn't want to listen to me like that. Diva Talks, I don't even know what you do. Okay. You worked for us for a long time. Yeah, I've been in the toy wrestling federation since 2012 AD, of course. But you know, your mother needs to learn some good stuff from me. No, my mother doesn't want to learn anything from you. Yeah, I know. Yes. Yeah, I know. And most likely what's going to happen is that when he comes, they'll say, well, there was this meeting that the owner, Xena, and Chief Executive Officer Hunter Helmsley met with Commissioner Ernest P. Worrell, and they end up naming Kurt Angle as the new general manager of TWF for seeding Sailor Moon. Yeah, he comes with another briefcase. Yeah, that's good to know. That's good to know, though. It is what it is at that point. So, does anybody want to? You gotta do that. I mean, I just came off from having the best sex I ever, good sex I had. Don't talk about that stuff. Diva Talks, really. Well, I did. Okay. I mean, you don't want to talk about it, and your mother don't want to talk about it, but I did. Yeah, that really, that's Diva Talks, and who knows. But, you know, it is what it is at that point. So apparently my mother still has her chosen one, Finn Balor. And apparently it's a conflict of interest because apparently it's also with The Undertaker as well. So it is what it is at that point. But, you know, so like next Impact, not next week's Impact, would be the Heatwave one, where you have Hercules and The Miz for the Heavyweight Championship. You have Buffy Summers and Shinsuke Nakamura for the World Heavyweight Championship. Sad for that burp. But it is what it is at that point. All right. I guess that's all the time I have here for this YouTube live stream. Hopefully it does not mess up like the last one I did last night did. All right. I'm Gabrielle Conniston, Amazon Princess, Amazon Queen, Battling Bard, really be calling Fighting Booker. Irritating Blonde really should be called the Angering Yellow. All right. Goodbye. Bye, everyone.